Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a story that's pretty incredible. We're exploring the mind of Jack Ma, the guy behind Alibaba. And get this, here's something that really makes you stop and think. Did you know he applied for over 30 jobs and got rejected by every single one?
Yeah, including KFC, famously.
Exactly, and he failed his university entrance exams multiple times too. So, okay, let's unpack this. How does someone facing that much rejection turn around and build one of the world's biggest companies, Alibaba, this massive global force?
It's an amazing story, really, and it speaks volumes about resilience, but also a very unique philosophy he developed. Our main source today is called Anomaly Twanches, essentially Jack Ma's success principles.
Yeah.
And our mission really is to pull out the key insights, the sometimes surprising bits of wisdom straight from his own experiences and thinking. We want to give you a kind of shortcut to understanding what really drove him and, maybe more importantly, how you can apply some of these lessons yourself.
Absolutely. And the very first principle hits that rejection backstory head on, embracing failure, seeing it not as, the end of the road, but as a stepping stone. He famously said, "Never give up. Today is hard, tomorrow will be worse, but the day after tomorrow will be sunshine."
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful, especially considering where he came from, all those setbacks.
It really is. And it's not just about, toughing it out. It's deeper. Maher believed failure is an integral part of success. It's almost like he reframed it. These setbacks that would crush most people. For him, they were necessary learning experiences, rites of passage almost.
Like data points.
Exactly. Each no told him something, taught him what didn't work or where not to look. It's this iterative learning process fueled by setbacks. It really makes you wonder, how do we shift our own view of failure? How do we start seeing it as valuable input?
That's a great question for everyone listening. How can you start looking at your challenges, your own rejections, maybe not as roadblocks, but as, like you said, data points on your map forward? And what's fascinating is this resilience wasn't just reactive. It seems like it became part of a structured plan for life. He even had this kind of age-based playbook. He advised, before 20, be a good student. Okay, makes sense. But then when you're 25, make as many mistakes as you can.
Right. Take risks when you're young. And he specifically mentioned working in a small company.
Yeah, why small?
Because you learn directly from the boss, you wear different hats, you see the whole picture, you don't get siloed like in a huge corporation early on.
Yeah.
The idea is those early mistakes, they're not just forgiven, they compound. They build this incredibly valuable foundation of experience.
So it's a long-term strategy.
Totally. He lays it out pretty clearly. Before 20, learn. Focus on learning, not earning. Soak it all up. 20 to 30, follow a good boss. Not necessarily a famous company, but a great mentor. That's key.
30 to 40. This is your time. Start your own thing if that's your path. 40 to 50. Consolidate. Focus on what you're really, truly good at. Leverage that expertise you've built.
Makes sense.
50 to 60. Give back. Invest in the next generation. Mentor young people. And 60 plus. Enjoy life. You've earned it.
It's a whole life cycle approach. So wherever you are, 20 or 50 or anywhere in between, it suggests being really deliberate about each stage, thinking intentionally about your evolution. Okay, moving on to entrepreneurship itself. He has this quote that really makes you think, you don't need to be the best, you need to be the first.
Provocative.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily about being first with some brand new invention, right? It seems more about execution.
Exactly. Ideas are everywhere, he implies, but actually doing something with them, that's rare. So for Ma, it was about speed, adaptability. Getting it done, even if it wasn't perfect, was better than waiting for perfection that never comes.
And always focused on solving a real problem, adding real value.
Yes, and that ties straight into another huge piece of his advice for entrepreneurs. Hire smarter people than you. Oh, that's a big one.
It is. And crucially, let them lead in their areas. It's not just about having smart people around, it's about empowering them. It challenges that leadership ego, doesn't it? It's about pragmatism over personal pride, trusting others to drive parts of the vision.
That's something a lot of leaders nod along to, but actually doing it, letting go of that control. That's tough.
It really is. A common trap is hiring smart people, but then, micromanaging them or second-guessing everything.
Right. Kills the whole point.
Totally. You have to build trust, create an environment where they feel safe to challenge things, to make decisions, even to fail sometimes. Otherwise, you're just bottlenecking their talent.
So for you listening, what problems are you trying to solve? And maybe more importantly, who could you empower to help you solve them better, even if it means they know more about it than you do? Now, competition. Another area where Ma had a clear perspective. You should learn from your competitor, but never copy. Copy and you die, isn't it? His strategy wasn't about outspending rivals, but outthinking them. Focusing on innovation, really obsessing over your customers, understanding where the market's heading.
And what's fascinating is how he views the dynamic of competition. It's not about hate or trying to crush the other guy. It's about using them as a mirror. What are they doing well? What can we learn? How can their actions push us to be better, more innovative?
So respect them, learn from them, but find your own unique path.
Precisely. It turns competition from the zero-sum battle into a catalyst for your own growth. You're inspired to innovate, not just imitate.
That's a really interesting shift. How can you maybe start looking at your competitors not just as obstacles, but as an unexpected source of learning and maybe even inspiration?
Okay, let's shift gears to leadership itself. Ma said, your attitude is more important than your capabilities. And similarly, your decision is more important than your capabilities.
That really puts the focus on mindset and judgment, doesn't it? Yeah. He argues that great leaders aren't just about technical skill or hitting targets. They're about setting a vision, building a strong culture, focusing on the team.
It's about empowering others. The company's success isn't about the leader's individual brilliance. It's about that collective spirit.
So what qualities did he look for?
He consistently pointed to things like vision, seeing where things are going, optimism essential for weathering storms, responsibility owning outcomes, also being able to learn from mistakes, that's huge, and always having a team-first mindset.
It really emphasizes leading with, well, heart and mind, not just technical skill. Emotional intelligence seems critical.
Absolutely. It's EQ driving the IQ, in a way.
So if you're leading a team or maybe just leading yourself on a project, how's your attitude shaping things? Are your decisions coming from a place of vision or just, tackling the immediate task? Now, technology and the future. This is really interesting coming from the founder of Alibaba. He declared, "We are not a tech company."
It sounds crazy at first.
Right. But he followed up. "We are a company solving problems using technology."
That distinction is everything.
It puts the emphasis back on human values, on solving real-world problems rather than just celebrating the tech itself. AI, computing power, they're tools.
Tools, not the master. And their purpose should be to serve people, serve human needs.
Yeah. He believed the future belongs to those who deeply understand customers and human behavior, not just the ones who can code the best algorithms.
It raises that fundamental question, doesn't it? Is technology serving us, or are we starting to serve it? Ma's view puts humans firmly back in the center.
So for you, how can you make sure the tech you use serves your values, helps you connect and understand people better instead of becoming the main goal?
Okay, now we need to tackle one of his most, let's say, blunt statements. If you're still poor at 35, it's your fault.
Yeah, that one definitely raises eyebrows, and it's really important to add context.
Please do. It sounds harsh, maybe even dismissive. But coming from his background, extreme poverty to massive success, it seems to be more about emphasizing personal agency, about the power of your choices within your circumstances.
So less about blame, more about responsibility.
I think so. And also, his idea of wealth wasn't just money. It included independence, influence, the ability to help others. Success, for him, wasn't about beating others. It was about improving yourself every single day. Are you growing? Are you learning?
So it broadens that definition beyond just the bank account. It's tied to self-improvement, making an impact.
Exactly. Continuous growth and having a positive effect.
It makes you think then. How do you define success? And are you actively working on that daily improvement or kind of waiting for things to happen to you? Let's talk about education. Ma was and is quite critical of current systems. He said, education is a big challenge now. We teach kids to compete, but we should teach them to be creative.
That's a powerful critique.
He argued for a big shift away from just memorizing facts and competing on tests towards fostering imagination, critical thinking, and, again, emotional intelligence.
Encouraging curiosity, empathy, collaboration, skills that are uniquely human.
Especially important now, right, with AI and automation.
Absolutely. He stressed that in this new era, creativity, adaptability, resilience, those are the things that will truly differentiate people. Machines can process facts, but they can't replicate that human spark.
It's a call to develop those human capabilities. So here's where it gets really interesting for you personally. How can you cultivate more creativity and empathy in your own learning? Or if you teach or mentor, how can you foster it in others? Now, inside his business, Alibaba, his priorities were famously, maybe controversially, ordered. He was very clear. Customers are number one.
Okay.
Employees are number two.
Right.
Shareholders are number three.
That flips the standard model on its head for many Western companies.
It really does. But his logic was simple. No customers, no business, period.
It makes sense.
And happy, engaged employees are the ones who take the best care of those customers.
So if you nail the first two.
Profits follow. They're an outcome, not the primary goal. Focus on delighting customers and supporting your team, and the shareholders will be happy eventually.
It's kind of radical in its simplicity, isn't it? That clarity of focus. So many businesses get tangled up trying to serve shareholders first and hoping the rest falls into place.
It's a good question to ask yourself. In your own work or even life, where do your priorities really lie, and how does that hierarchy impact your results? And finally, this brings us back almost to the beginning, the bedrock of it all, the unyielding power of dreams and persistence. His ultimate message seems to be, if you don't give up, you still have a chance. Giving up is the greatest failure.
That echoes right back to his own story.
Absolutely. He always stressed that big dreams demand huge patience. You have to remember, Alibaba started tiny, just 18 friends in his apartment.
Fueled by this enormous dream and clearly unbelievable belief.
Yeah. It really underscores the sheer grit and conviction needed to turn a bold vision into reality. You have to stay optimistic, keep believing, even when things look really bleak.
It's a powerful reminder that the journey, the struggle, the persistence itself, that's just as important, maybe even more so, than reaching the final destination.
So for you, thinking about those big dreams you might have, what level of persistence are you really committed to? His advice is clear. Don't give up. Before we wrap this up, maybe we can hit a few more quick insights from Ma, kind of rapid-fire takeaways that capture his overall philosophy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many good ones. Like, help young people, help small guys, because small guys will be big. Invest in potential.
Love that. Okay, another one. Forget the money. Focus on your dream.
Right. Passion first. The resources will follow if the dream is strong enough.
How about this? Opportunity lies in the place where the complaints are.
Brilliant. Problems aren't roadblocks. They're signposts to innovation. Listen to what people are frustrated about. That's where the value is.
And this one hits hard. We're never in lack of money. We lack people with dreams who can die for those dreams.
Oof, that puts it starkly. It's about conviction. Human vision and commitment are the real scarce resources, not just cash.
If you want to be successful, learn from other people's mistakes.
Such practical advice. Why suffer through every error yourself? Study failures, yours and others.
The very important thing you should have is patience. We heard that loud and clear.
And linking back to hiring, hire people with good EQ, not just IQ. Emotional intelligence again.
Also, your employees should have superior technical skills than you.
Right. Reinforces that leadership isn't about being the best doer, but the best enabler of talent.
Don't worry about competitors. Worry about whether you are still adding value. Focus inward on your own mission.
And summing up the priorities. Success and profitability are outcomes of focusing on customers and employees, not goals in themselves.
Wow. When you put them all together like that, it really paints a picture, doesn't it? It's not just business strategy.
None at all. It's a whole philosophy. Deeply human-centric, incredibly resilient, always looking forward. It's about how you approach life, not just work.
What an amazing journey through his thinking. From failure as fuel to that age-based plan, prioritizing people, and just that relentless belief in dreams.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. We really encourage you listening to think about which of these ideas hit home for you. What principle really resonated? And maybe consider, how could you integrate just one of these ideas into your own life or work starting today? Could you shift your view on a challenge? Re-examine your priorities.
And let's leave you with that final provocative thought from Ma. If opportunity lies in the place where the complaints are, what complaint, big or small, in your world, your work, your community, what complaint are you uniquely positioned to maybe start addressing? Definitely something to chew on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. Keep exploring, keep learning.